May 12, 1945. Nordhausen, Germany. Major Robert Staver pulls his jeep to a stop outside an unassuming house in the Harz Mountains. The war in Europe ended 4 days ago, but Staver isn't celebrating. He's racing against a clock that's already run out. In his pocket sits a list, the Ozenberg list, a Nazi registry of Germany's top scientists recovered from a toilet at Bonn University. At the top, Wernher von Braun, architect of the V-2 rocket that killed over 9,000 Allied civilians in London and Antwerp. Staver straightens his uniform and knocks on the door. What he doesn't know is that in 15 days, British forces will arrive to transfer this entire region to Soviet control. The Cold War hasn't started yet, but in this moment, on this doorstep, Staver is about to fire its first shot. The door opens. Von Braun stands before him, Germany's rocket genius, now a prisoner of war. Staver has orders to interview these scientists. Nothing more. The official U.S. policy is clear: war criminals stay in Germany. Nazi party members are forbidden from entering America. But in the past 3 days, Staver has learned something that terrifies him. The Germans aren't years ahead of American rocket science. They're decades ahead. And 300 miles east, Soviet forces are sweeping through Germany, hunting these same scientists with orders from Stalin himself. Staver makes a decision that will define the next 70 years of human history. He's going to break direct orders from the Joint Chiefs of Staff. He's going to smuggle enemy scientists, many of them Nazi party members, into the United States before the British or Soviets discover what he's done. Colonel Joel Holmes will later call it the most important operation for the Pacific War effort. The State Department will call it illegal. History will call it Operation Paperclip. But first, Staver needs to steal 14 tons of rocket documents and evacuate 100 German scientists across Allied lines, without authorization, without approval, and without getting caught. He has 15 days. 6 months earlier, London is dying from space. September 8, 1944. The first V-2 rocket strikes Chiswick at 3 times the speed of sound. No air raid siren. No warning. Just a supersonic shriek followed by obliteration. Unlike the V-1 buzz bomb that could be heard and intercepted, the V-2 is unstoppable. It reaches 50 miles altitude, then falls faster than sound itself. By the time you hear it, you're already dead. Over the next 6 months, 3,172 V-2s will strike Allied targets. In London alone, 2,754 dead, 6,523 injured. Antwerp suffers even worse, 1,736 dead from 590 direct hits. On December 16, 1944, a single rocket kills 567 people when it strikes the Cine Rex Theater. The psychological effect is devastating. Every explosion represents technology that shouldn't exist, liquid-fueled rockets that fly 200 miles, guided by gyroscopes, immune to anti-aircraft fire. Allied intelligence scrambles for answers. British Mi-6 raids German facilities. American bomber crews target V-2 production sites. Nothing works. The Germans are building these weapons faster than the Allies can destroy them. Meanwhile, America's own rocket program is a joke. Robert Goddard's primitive designs barely reach 9,000 feet. The U.S. military has no guided missiles, no liquid fuel technology, no inertial navigation. They're fighting World War II with World War I weapons. Then, in March 1945, a Polish lab technician at Bonn University finds pieces of paper stuffed in a toilet. It's the Ozenberg list, Germany's registry of 15,000 scientists working on secret weapons. Mi-6 transmits it to U.S. intelligence. Major Robert Staver, chief of the Jet Propulsion Section of Army Ordnance, receives it and realizes the Americans aren't just behind. They're fighting in the Stone Age. The expert consensus is unanimous. Interview the Germans, document their research, then leave them for Allied courts to prosecute. President Truman's directive is explicit: no Nazis in America, ever. But Staver sees what the bureaucrats don't. The war with Japan isn't over. If these scientists can build rockets that cross the English Channel, they can build rockets that cross the Pacific. More importantly, if the Soviets capture these men first, Stalin will have ballistic missiles capable of striking New York before America has rockets that can reach orbit. The stakes aren't just military, they're existential. Whoever controls these scientists controls the future of warfare. On May 10, 1945, the Joint Chiefs issue orders to General Eisenhower: preserve German research, detain scientists for intelligence purposes, but under no circumstances bring war criminals to America. Staver reads the order and understands what it really means. Interview only, then abandon them to Soviet capture. 2 days later, he's in Nordhausen, staring at documents that describe rocket technology America won't independently develop for 20 years. The official plan, Operation Overcast, authorizes interviews. Nothing more. Staver needs a new plan, one that will save American lives in the Pacific, one that will stop Stalin from winning the next war before it starts, one that will give America a chance to survive the atomic age, and one that will require him to commit treason against direct orders. Major Robert Staver isn't a scientist. He's a 31-year-old Army Ordnance officer with a degree in mechanical engineering, not physics, not rocketry, not aerospace. He's never built a rocket, never designed a guidance system, never calculated a ballistic trajectory. What he is good at is reading people. And when he sits across from Wernher von Braun in that Nordhausen house on May 12, 1945, Staver realizes he's talking to a man who could put Americans on the moon or Russians on Manhattan. Von Braun speaks perfect English. He's charming, apologetic, eager to cooperate. He claims he was never a true Nazi, just a scientist pursuing his dream of space exploration. Staver doesn't care about his politics. He cares about his knowledge. For 3 days, Staver interviews the German rocket team. They describe the V-2's propulsion system, liquid oxygen and alcohol, producing 56,000 pounds of thrust. They explain inertial guidance using gyroscopes that can calculate position without external references. They detail production methods for supersonic aerodynamics that America's wind tunnels can't even simulate. Every hour of interviews reveals another decade of American backwardness. On May 15, 1945, the moment of insight arrives. Colonel Joel Holmes, Staver's commanding officer overseeing 400 captured German scientists, sends an urgent message to the Pentagon. The cable warns that unless these men are evacuated immediately, they'll fall into Soviet hands within weeks. Holmes proposes something radical: bring 100 of them to America for the Pacific War effort. Staver realizes Holmes has given him political cover for something far bigger. The official orders say interview only, but Holmes' cable creates a loophole: the Pacific War. Japan hasn't surrendered. American forces are preparing to invade the home islands, an operation estimated to cost 1 million American casualties. If German rocket scientists can develop weapons to bombard Japan from aircraft carriers or submarines, it could save hundreds of thousands of lives. It's a justification thin enough to see through, but it's a justification. Staver makes his decision. He's going to evacuate the scientists, not for interviews, but for permanent relocation to America. He's going to seize 14 tons of rocket documents and ship them to the United States. And he's going to do it before British forces arrive on May 27th to transfer the region to Soviet control. He has 12 days. The problem: moving 100 scientists, their families, and 14 tons of documents requires trains, trucks, and military authorization he doesn't have. The solution: don't ask for permission. On May 16, 1945, Staver begins Operation Overcast, the unauthorized mission that will become Operation Paperclip. What happens next will either save American lives or end Staver's career. Probably both. May 17, 1945, Nordhausen. Staver stands in an underground V-2 production facility that stretches 2 miles into a mountain. This is Mittelwerk, where 20,000 slave laborers built Hitler's revenge weapons. Thousands died here from starvation and brutality. Staver isn't interested in war crimes tribunals. He's interested in the blueprints. Von Braun's team has hidden 14 tons of documents in an abandoned mine shaft outside town. Complete V-2 schematics, guidance system designs, combustion chamber specifications, wind tunnel data, propulsion calculations that took German engineers 15 years to develop. We need these in America, Staver tells his men, before the British arrive. The crude prototype isn't a rocket, it's a logistics operation. Staver commandeers 3 army trucks without authorization. He orders his team to load the documents, telling them it's for technical intelligence review. He schedules transport planes at a nearby airfield, planes that are supposed to be evacuating wounded soldiers, not Nazi documents. The first test comes on May 22, 1945. Staver transmits Colonel Holmes' telegram to the War Department. Request immediate evacuation of 100 German scientists. Essential for Pacific War operations. He doesn't mention that Pacific War operations means permanent relocation to America. He doesn't mention that many of these men are Nazi Party members. He doesn't mention that he's already begun moving them without approval. The next day, Staver sits hunched over AP-47 Thunderbolt fighter aircraft. Crammed into the fuselage, microfilm containing complete V-2 blueprints. He's smuggling the documents on a fighter plane because bombers would be too obvious. The P-47 takes off for Paris. From there, military transport to Washington. By May 25th, the documents are in Pentagon vaults, 2 days before British forces arrive in Nordhausen. Mission accomplished. Phase 1. Phase 2. Evacuate the scientists themselves. Staver moves fast. He transfers von Braun and 126 key personnel to Garmisch-Partenkirchen in Bavaria, American-controlled territory far from Soviet reach. He houses them with their families in relative comfort, telling his superiors it's temporary detention for intelligence purposes. Then the reaction arrives. June 1945. The State Department receives reports of Staver's operation. Samuel Klaus, chief of the State Department's Foreign Service Division, reads the intelligence summary and erupts. That is illegal, Klaus writes in a memo to the Joint Chiefs. President Truman's directive explicitly forbids bringing Nazi Party members to America. Major Staver has violated direct orders and international law. The War Department opens an investigation. Staver's career hangs by a thread. But 3,000 miles away, in Los Alamos, New Mexico, something is about to change the entire calculation. July 16, 1945, 5:29 a.m. Alamogordo, New Mexico. The Trinity test vaporizes a steel tower in a flash brighter than 1,000 suns. The atomic age begins. 3 weeks later, August 6th and 9th, atomic bombs obliterate Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Japan surrenders. Samuel Klaus's argument collapses. The Pacific War is over, which means Staver's justification for Operation Overcast no longer exists. The State Department demands immediate termination of the program. Klaus insists the German scientists be returned for war crimes prosecution. The Justice Department agrees. Bringing Nazis to America violates Truman's explicit directive. But in August 1945, something else happens that changes everything. Soviet forces flood into eastern Germany, rounding up every German scientist they can find. Stalin orders immediate transfer of entire research teams, families, equipment, documentation, to facilities in the USSR. The Soviets don't care about Nazi affiliations. They care about ballistic missiles. The expert confrontation arrives in September 1945. A joint meeting at the Pentagon. Army intelligence, naval intelligence, Air Force intelligence, State Department, Justice Department. Samuel Klaus presents his case. These men are war criminals. Von Braun was an SS officer. Arthur Rudolph oversaw slave labor that killed thousands. Bringing them to America violates President Truman's directive and makes us complicit in their crimes. The room erupts. Army intelligence counters. The Soviets have already captured 2,000 German scientists. If we don't take ours, Stalin will have intercontinental ballistic missiles within 5 years. This isn't about justice, it's about survival. Navy intelligence adds, the V-2 can already fly 200 miles. With atomic warheads, that's checkmate. We need these men, or we lose the next war before it starts. Klaus fires back. So we compromise American values to build better weapons? We're supposed to be the good guys. The debate rages for hours. State Department versus Defense Department. Ethics versus pragmatism. Justice versus survival. Then the maverick leader speaks. September 3, 1946. President Harry Truman issues a secret directive. Operation Paperclip is officially approved. Truman's order includes one critical caveat. Only nominal Nazi Party members may enter America. No active supporters of Nazism. No war criminals. It's a compromise that satisfies no one. Klaus considers it a betrayal. The military considers it an impossible restriction. Because the truth is simple, Germany's best rocket scientists were all Nazi Party members. Von Braun joined the SS. Rudolf oversaw middlework slave labor. Virtually every name on Staver's list has a swastika in their file. The Joint Intelligence Objectives Agency, JOA, the new bureaucracy created to administer Paperclip, faces an unsolvable problem. Follow Truman's directive and the program dies. Ignore it and face prosecution. JOA Director Bosket Webb chooses a third option. He rewrites history. Throughout 1946 and 1947, Webb orders systematic falsification of security evaluations. JLA officers expunge Nazi records, remove evidence of war crimes, sanitize personnel files. Von Braun's SS membership? Deleted. Rudolph's slave labor oversight? Nominal participation. State Department investigators catch the alterations and protest. Klaus writes scathing memos documenting the fraud. Webb dismisses the objections as picayune details that harm national security. By 1948, the battle is over. Operation Paperclip becomes permanent. Over 1,600 German scientists and their families are brought to America. Their past is erased. Their future is classified. Staver's gamble worked. If you're enjoying this story of how one major's unauthorized mission changed history, smash that subscribe button. We're just getting to the part where these reformed Nazis give America the moon. April 16, 1946. White Sands Proving Ground, New Mexico. Von Braun's team stands in the desert, watching American soldiers assemble a V-2 rocket from components shipped from Germany. This is the testing phase, proving these Nazi scientists can deliver what they promised. The stakes are existential. If the Germans fail, Congress will terminate the program and prosecute everyone involved in the fraud. If they succeed, America gets a 20-year head start in the missile age. Launch countdown. 10, 9, 8. The V-2 ignites. White flame erupts from the engine bell. The rocket climbs, faster, higher, beyond anything American technology can achieve. Apogee, 71 miles. It's not combat, but it's proof. Between 1946 and 1952, Von Braun's team launches 67 captured V-2s at White Sands. Each one teaches American engineers lessons that would take decades to learn independently. Supersonic aerodynamics, gyroscopic guidance, liquid fuel combustion, high-altitude atmospheric data. Testing data starts pouring in. V-2 engine thrust, 56,000 pounds. Maximum velocity, 3,580 miles per hour, Mach 4.7. Operational range, 200 miles. Guidance accuracy, within 3 miles of target. By comparison, America's best pre-war rocket, Goddard's design, produced 200 pounds of thrust and reached 9,000 feet. The Germans are 30 years ahead, but the real mission isn't rebuilding V-2s. It's using German knowledge to leapfrog Soviet development. October 4th, 1957. The worst nightmare arrives. Soviet radio transmits a rhythmic beeping from space. Beep, beep, beep. Sputnik 1, the first artificial satellite, launched on an R-7 rocket, a direct descendant of the V-2, built by German scientists the Soviets captured. It orbits Earth every 96 minutes, passing over American cities like a Soviet middle finger. America panics. If the Soviets can put a satellite in orbit, they can drop a nuclear warhead on Washington. The enemy reaction is clear. The Soviets won round one. But von Braun has been preparing America's counterpunch. January 31st, 1958. Von Braun's team launches Explorer 1 on a Jupiter C rocket, America's first satellite. The space race is on. April 12, 1961. Soviet cosmonaut Yuri Gagarin becomes the first human in space, launched on a Vostok rocket, another V-2 descendant. The Soviets are still winning. Then President Kennedy makes a crazy promise. We choose to go to the moon. He puts von Braun in charge. 1962 to 1967, von Braun directs development of the Saturn V, the most powerful rocket ever built. It's a V-2 scaled up 100 times. 5F-1 engines producing 7.6 million pounds of thrust. 363 feet tall, capable of sending 3 men to the moon. Critics question putting a former Nazi in charge of America's most important program. Von Braun deflects with a famous quote, I aim at the stars, but sometimes I hit London. It's dark humor masking a darker truth. November 9, 1967. The first Saturn V test flight. Apollo 4. Unmanned. Perfect launch. Perfect flight. Perfect landing. The lives saved calculation begins. Between 1967 and 1973, Saturn V rockets launched 13 missions. Apollo 8. First humans to orbit the moon, December 1968. Apollo 11. First moon landing, July 20, 1969. Apollo 12 to 17. 5 more successful moon landings. Skylab, America's first space station, 1973. Total astronauts launched, 27. Total missions lost, 0, after Apollo 1's ground fire. Saturn V success rate, 100%. No other rocket in history matches that record. The kill ratio isn't measured in enemy casualties. It's measured in scientific supremacy. Von Braun's Saturn V beats the Soviets to the moon, wins the space race, and establishes American technological dominance for the next 50 years. But there's another lives-saved calculation. When Sputnik launches in 1957, American intelligence estimates the Soviets are 5 to 10 years ahead in missile technology. Without Operation Paperclip, that gap would be 20 years. 20 years of Soviet missile superiority during the Cuban Missile Crisis. 20 years of vulnerability to nuclear first strike. 20 years of strategic inferiority that could have ended in atomic war. Operation Paperclip didn't just win the space race. It prevented World War III. The enemy perspective comes from Soviet Premier Nikita Khrushchev, speaking in 1963. We lost the moon when we lost Piedmont. The Soviets knew the truth. Whoever captured Germany's rocket scientists would control space. And there's a veteran testimonial, not from soldiers, but from astronauts. Neil Armstrong, speaking in 1969 after Apollo 11. We stand on the shoulders of giants. He doesn't say they're German giants, but everyone knows. We've covered dozens of untold World War II stories like this. If you want more documentaries that reveal the secret history they don't teach in schools, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. May 16, 1977. Washington, D.C. Wernher von Braun dies of cancer at age 65. His obituaries describe him as America's rocket pioneer and architect of the Apollo program. They mention his Nazi past in paragraph 7. The production numbers tell the story of Operation Paperclip's success. 1. 600-plus German scientists brought to America. 13 Saturn V rockets launched without a single failure. 24 astronauts sent to the moon. 842 pounds of lunar samples returned to Earth. 0 Soviet cosmonauts reached the moon. The modern legacy is everywhere. Every NASA rocket descends from von Braun's designs. The Space Shuttle, the International Space Station, SpaceX's Falcon 9, all use liquid fuel propulsion systems perfected by Paperclip scientists. Even the Chinese Long March rocket and the Russian Soyuz trace their lineage to the V-2. When Elon Musk's Starship launches for Mars, it flies on technology that began in Nazi Germany. But the humble hero ending is complicated. Von Braun didn't refuse fame, he embraced it. He appeared on television, consulted for Disney, became the public face of American space exploration. He insisted he was never a true Nazi, just a scientist pursuing space travel. The truth is uglier. In 1984, 7 years after von Braun's death, investigations revealed the full scope of Middleworks horrors. 20,000 slave laborers worked in those underground factories. An estimated 20,000 died from starvation, disease, and execution. Von Braun visited Middlework multiple times and personally selected skilled prisoners for his projects. Arthur Rudolph, von Braun's production chief, fled America in 1984 to avoid war crimes prosecution. Operation Paperclip's moral lesson isn't simple. Did Major Robert Staver save American lives by smuggling Nazi scientists to the U.S.? Yes. His unauthorized 1945 mission gave America the technology that won the space race and prevented Soviet nuclear superiority. Did Operation Paperclip compromise American values by sheltering war criminals? Also yes. The WWII's systematic falsification of Nazi records made the U.S. complicit in covering up atrocities. Staver himself rarely spoke about Operation Paperclip after the war. No medals, no recognition. He retired from the army in obscurity. The astronauts who walked on the moon owed their lives to his illegal gamble in May 1945. So did the victims of middle work who died building the V2s that made it all possible. History doesn't deal in easy heroes, but it does deal in consequences. And the consequence of Operation Paperclip is that you're reading this on a device built with technology descended from Nazi rockets. Sometimes the price of victory is discovering you've won with weapons forged by your enemies.